Hello and welcome to Sunday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic. Well, it is Sunday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic. I'm not actually recording this on Sunday. I'm recording this in advance, and that is because on Sunday, Mark and I are going to be appearing at the Stratford upon Avon Literary Festival to do a live edition of Cracking the Cryptic. So I hope, if you're watching this video, that has gone well, and I managed to solve whatever puzzle it is that Mark has in store for me, and that you've had a good time. But anyway, what's this video about? This video, I'm going to attempt a puzzle called Big Latin Y Squared by Kaktuslav. And I think it's appropriate I do a Kaktuslav for the Sunday video, because Kaktuslav very nearly was the puzzle that I was going to attempt at the literary festival, but Mark's found another one apparently. So anyway, I'm going to do another Kaktuslav puzzle. All of Kaktuslav's puzzles are brilliant, and this one has been recommended to us. And I don't actually think it's a Sudoku. I think that's why it's called Big Latin, because there are no 3x3 boxes, or at least not that are evident to me. Yeah, and the instructions seem to refer to Latin squares, which means basically we're not going to have to repeat a digit in a row or column. But I don't think there are 3x3 boxes in this one. And I'll read you the rules in a moment or two's time. But apart from mentioning that it has hopefully been an interesting day in the channel's history, only the second time we'll have done a live edition like that. What else can I tell you about? Tomorrow night, Monday night, we're going to be streaming again, more blueprints. So if you've been enjoying our journey through that strange mansion, we'd love to have your company. 10 o'clock UK time tomorrow. Other than that, gosh, I'm trying to juggle with dates in my mind. Well, I suppose over on Patreon we have got this brand new competition that's just launched, so do check that out. It lasts until the 20th. It's got a country theme. Let's just call it that. It's a Sudoku hunt as usual, and lots of 9x9 puzzles this time, rather than the 5x5s that you were faced with last time from the Skunk Works. There aren't 68 of them either, so it's more manageable. It's more manageable, and we think you should have a lot of fun. So do check that out. If you haven't joined us on Patreon yet, it's a couple of bucks a month to join us over there. There's loads and loads of extra content. There's extra crossword content, Mark's connection videos where he does battle with the New York Times connections puzzle every day, as well as sometimes some strange Sudoku solves too. So that's all over on Patreon. Is there anything else to mention? There probably is, but I can't. Let me just have a quick look at my. No, I haven't got any birthdays to do today. Now, it's possible, of course, that somebody will have written to me between when I record this video and Sunday asking for a birthday announcement in the Sunday video, and I'm so sorry if that has happened, because I'm recording this in advance. I haven't got that message. Future Simon will know, and we'll be able to do the birthday announcement on Monday, but it will be a day late. So I apologise if I'm late to your birthday announcement for when this video appears. Anyway, with all that said and done, why don't we have a look at Big Latin Y Squared by Kaktuslav, and I'll read you the rules. We have got Latin square. Place the digits 1 to 9 exactly once in each row and column. So it's definitely not normal Sudoku rules. So those digits have to be the digits 1 to 9 once each, and so do those, etc. Yin Yang. Shade some cells so that all shaded cells are orthogonally connected, all unshaded cells are orthogonally connected, and no 2x2 area is entirely shaded or entirely unshaded. So what this means is we have to achieve a sort of a bisection of the grid that might look something like this. And I'll talk about why this is a valid colouring of the grid. So this could be a valid yin-yang shading, and that is because you can see you can trace through the entire purple shape just by moving along cells that share an edge with other cells. And you can move along that entire green shape using exactly the same principle. Now, if on the other hand we change this one to being purple, the purple shape is no longer orthogonally connected. These two cells do touch one another, but only at a point, at a vertex, and that's not enough for an orthogonal connection. So that would not be a valid shading. And you can also see, if you examine any particular 2x2 in the whole grid, you won't find it shaded only one colour. Two colours exist in every single 2x2, and that is also a requirement for yin-yang shading. So that is a rule. And there's just two more rules. It says YY cages. Within each cage, the sum of the shaded digits equals the sum of the unshaded digits. Digits may repeat within a cage. Oh, good grief. Right. So let's have a look at this shape then. So we could have something like that, I think. Do they have to be contiguous? It doesn't say that. So it might be also possible to have something like this. But the principle would be that the two greens, whatever their sum would be the the as the two pinks or the two purples, if you prefer. So that is a very unusual rule. And you can repeat digits. So that digit couldn't be the same as this digit because of the Latin square rule, but it could be the same as this digit or the same as this digit. Clones. The corner cells with grey diamonds contain the same digit. Okay, so that's not much of a clone, but there is a clone relationship between those two cells. They must contain the same digit. And that's it. That's all the rules. That is weird that can solve it. I mean, that is weird that can solve. There's one given. And there's a sort of equality condition to all the cages. How absolutely bizarre. Anyway, do have a go. I don't know how hard this is. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. But now I get to play. Let's get cracking. I mean, I presume we're going to have to use the secrets of yin-yang to solve this. So let me explain what they are in case you've never solved a yin-yang puzzle before. The crucial secret about yin-yang is that this pattern cannot exist in the puzzle. And that's because of the requirement that the overall pattern is going to connect these greens orthogonally. And you can see that in performing that connection, it doesn't matter how I do it. I'm now going to isolate this purple from this purple. I can't now connect these purples together. It's impossible. I would have to go through the colour green, and I'm not allowed to do that. A cell must be one colour or the other. It can't be both. So there are no checkerboards. And that has an implication for the perimeter. So let's talk about that. As a perimeter in a yin-yang puzzle, it could all be one colour. That is possible. You can introduce a stretch of another colour. That is possible. But that's as far as it goes. Once you've got two contiguous stretches of colour around the perimeter, you cannot introduce a third. Let's say you made this green. Why is that a problem? And the answer lies in the checkerboard logic that we were just discussing. If we try now to connect this green to the rest of its green friends, it doesn't matter what route we take. Let's take that route. How are you going to connect this purple to this purple? You can't do it. It's impossible. So a perimeter of a yin-yang could look like this, although it actually can't here, but it could in theory. So there are only two colours in the perimeter. Now the reason I say it can't look like that here is that there must be a break in colour there, mustn't there? Yeah, that's very interesting straight away. So why must there be a change of colour here? Well, we know that the unshaded digits, so I'm going to probably use green and purple, but the green digits, actually no, I shouldn't do that, should I? I should use blue and orange because they're our most colourblind friendly colours. So the blue digits in here are going to sum to the orange digits in there. That's the requirement. So it can't all be one colour. So there is a break of colour in this cage, and there's another cage here in the perimeter that must also contain two colours in it. Otherwise, the condition about cage logic can't apply. So given there's a break of colour here, and there's a break of colour here, and there can't be any more breaks of colour in the perimeter, what that means is that these cells must all be the same colour. And those cells must all be the same colour. Now, so okay, so then we avoid 2 by 2s. Look, so that one's got to be blue. That one's got to be blue. This one's got to be orange, and this one's got to be orange. It looks like we've got to do FISTMFL or something. But hang on. No, that's just not true. So in this puzzle, because there's no Sudoku boxes, FISTMFL will not apply. So FISTMFL is, oh, this is going to get confusing. FISTMFL is the theory in Sudoku that shows you those cells. In a normal Sudoku, those green cells are the same as these corner box cells. The same digits must appear in that ring I drew as appear in the 2 by 2s in the corner. But the logic that proves that that is the case relies on box logic, 3 by 3 box logic, and there is none of that in this puzzle. So although we're given the 2 by 2s, I don't think that's what we're going to have to concentrate on. Ah, right. But I can see something here, look. I've got 3 oranges here. How could either of those be orange? Neither of these can be orange. Because imagine this was orange. Now I've got 4 orange. Oh no, hang on, I'm wrong. I'm totally wrong. I'm going to get this wrong all the time, aren't I? I was about to say this couldn't be orange because I was going to allege that these 4 different digits couldn't add up to that blue one. But that doesn't have to be different to those 3. It could be, if that was a 1, and these were 1, 2, and 3, that could be, it couldn't be a 7, but it could be an 8 or a 9. Oh, that's rotten. Okay, sorry. I was about to say something that's totally and utterly bogus. Good grief. Right, okay, so what do I do then? Hang on, what's going on? That has discombobulated me totally. I thought... What are the rules? Within each cage. But I don't know. I don't think... I mean, even if I did know that was double orange, would that be a useful thing to know? That would be double blue. It wouldn't really take us forward very far, would it? What on earth am I meant to do here? Is it something... I suppose a 3-cell cage has got... That's got 2 of one colour and 1 of the other colour in it. I mean, that's the only way it can divide. It can't be 3 of one colour. So 2 digits in there add up to the 3rd digit. Oh, yeah, so there must be an orange in here. I mean, there could be 2 oranges, but there must be 1 orange, because that can't all be blue. There must be an orange in there, and there must be an orange in here. Ah, I've had an idea. Is it the secret? That would be... I don't know if it's the secret. It might be the secret. It's the only thing it's the only good idea I've come up with. So I'm just going to mention an idea I've had. This column, because of the secret of Sudoku and the secret of Latin squares, it turned out in this puzzle. The secret of Sudoku is something I share with only my very favourite people. But of course, if you're watching this video, you're definitely one of my favourite people. The secret of Sudoku and Latin squares is that a whole column sums to 45 because it's going to contain the digits 1 to 9 once each. Now, what I'm just wondering about there then is they sum to I know they sum to 45. I don't know what those two sum to. Something. At least, if they were a 1-2 pair, they would add up to 3, wouldn't they? So I know that the blue digits in the cages that touch column 1 sum up to at least 48. 48 as an absolute minimum. And that means that the orange cells in these cages have to add up to at least 48. Now, how hard is that? So that's going to be, well, it might not be all of these digits, but it's going to be some portion of those digits, isn't it? And these two, obviously. Well, we've got 6 in the column, which is 39 minimum. And 2 there, that's actually not, no, it's not actually very restricted at all. So yeah, I don't know that that's going to work. Ah, that's a shame, because I really like that idea. Yes, so just to complete the thought, what I was thinking is, I'll make those orange just for a moment. I know those oranges add up to at least 48, don't I? If they were all orange. They don't have to be all orange, because we've already worked out that that could be a blue, for example. I mean, there could be a blue in there. But there must be at least one orange in all of these cages. Yeah, okay, hang on. Hang on. What's the correct way to think about this then? Because actually, looking at this, it isn't true to say. So what? Okay, sorry, I'm sort of eliding over some logic that I was thinking about there. What I said was, if all those were orange, these could sum to 39. Where did I get that number from? Well, what I know is that the top 6 numbers in Sudoku, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5 and 4, sum to 39. And that's just an extrapolation of the secret. If I know all 9 numbers sum to 45, and I miss out the 3 smallest numbers, the 1, the 2 and the 3, I know 1, 2 and 3 add to 6, so I know, in theory, in my brain, those could have added up to 39. Could they, though? They actually can't. I don't know what they can add up to, but it's not 39. And that's because these two, well, hang on, the maximum they could add up to is 9, isn't it? Which is that. Hang on, what's going on here? There's something going on. It's to do with... How does this? There's something happening here. I don't quite know what it is, but I am trying to figure it out. I mean, if I did make all of these orange, then actually the sum of those cells there is a maximum of 17. And the reason we know that is the sum of those specific cells is the sum of those specific cells. So if these were an 8-9 pair, which is the most they could be, that would be 17. So 17, these could be an 8-9 pair, that's another 17. So the absolute maximum, so if I make them all orange, I'm not saying I'm going to make them all orange, I'm just saying if I do make them all orange, then those cells sum up to 34. Wow, this is getting closer. This is getting closer to being interesting. So if I do make all these orange, because these can't be more than 17, i.e. those can't sum to more than 17, these two can't sum to more than 17, I've actually got 34 for those 6 cells with 2 more to come, which have to add up to at least 48, don't they, in total? Because we knew that this column, 45 plus a 1-2 pair, is 48. So those add up to a minimum of 14 without using a 7. Okay, well that's really interesting, because if... Yeah, that is really interesting, because look at this column. That is symmetrical. So if there is a reason that you have to make all of these orange, that logic that we've just applied there is going to apply exactly the same way here. And these will have to add up to at least 14. And what's the absolute maximum you can make 5 different Sudoku digits add up to? Well, it's 35. 14 and 14 and 7 is 35. So that would be totally forced. But that is predicated on something I'm not quite sure about. Which is... I mean, the thing is, if I put any more blue cells in there, my total is not 48 anymore. This is a weird point, but let me try and make it. Yeah, for example, if I made that blue, then my maximum, well, the total I would have to achieve in orange now has gone up, because these add up to at least 6 now. 6 plus 45 is 51. And that's actually going to be impossible, isn't it? I don't think this can be. Maybe that one could be. I'm not sure, but I don't think that one can be blue. Because now the maximum of those is 34, and this would have to be a 17 to get to 51 at least. That cell does not contain a 17. Right. So that is indisputably orange. And we know these two are orange. So the question is over the others. Do these have to be orange? Does that have to be orange? Because that doesn't see anything else. It would still be a bit of a problem though, wouldn't it? I mean, if that was blue, then again the minimum total has gone up. Because even if that's a 1, we're up to 49. And we know these still have a maximum sum. Yeah, that's quite an interesting way of looking at it. There is simply no way that any oranges that I allocate to these cells can possibly add up to more. Oh, they could be double 9. Maybe they could be 2 9s. So if that was a 9 and this was an 8 1 in blue, then 8 1, that would be a 9. I'm not sure whether you could do it. Oh no, hang on, I'm right. I can't put 8s and 9s in this column. It's quite difficult to do this actually. Okay, but anyway, let me come back to it. If that was blue, then I've got to get 49. I've got to get 49. I don't think these can add up to much more than 17. I really don't. So I've got 34. 34. I mean, the problem is just getting it's getting more and more impossible. This has to be too big. I need this to be a dyad that can add up to a lot. So no, it's just not even close, is it? This is definitely double orange. What I'm slightly unsure about is whether I can add a blue and make the problem slightly easier for me in one of these cells. I mean, it definitely doesn't make it easier to make this blue. Or this blue, because the absolute maximum value of the third orange in this panoply of digits would be a 7, because I'm predicating 8 and 9 here. So these would add up to 24 maximum. And even if that was a 9, that would give me 33, which would require those cells to add up to even more. And it would be even more because one of these would be blue. So I'd be... yeah, this would be even higher. And this would be impossible. I can't make this higher unless I can make this lower, and I can't make that less than 14. I've not come up with a way of reducing this total. I've come up with a way that these have to be higher than 14, but that's no use because that's going to put too much pressure on this. So the only other thing that might change it is if this was blue and that was orange. But no, that definitely doesn't work. Because although I could make that a 9 now without interfering with this 8-9 pair, and I might think that I've improved the lot in life, I definitely haven't. Because even if I double orange this, I can make that add up to 9. I've got 9 here, so it looks like I'm better than the first situation where I had 8-9 plus 8-9, which is 34, because now I've got 9, 8-9. Well, what have I got exactly? I've got 9 here for 18, plus 17 more is 35, but it's not better, because this blue has added to the total I've got to get to, and it's added at least a 3 to it. So I'm heading up now for 51 again from 35 this time, which requires this to be 16. So, right, this is it. This is absolutely extraordinary logic, and it's quite unbelievable, because what we've now deduced, I'm going to just get rid of everything here and summarize it. What I have deduced is that it is absolutely impossible to make these cells, I do know those two are orange, by the way, to make this particular domino cannot under any circumstances sum to less than 14. And that logic extends there as well. So how on earth are we going to do this? It's going to have to be 14 here. It's going to have to be 14 here. So these are, in some order, a 5-9 and a 6-8 pair. These digits are 1, 2, 3, and 4. And the only way that we could keep this to 14 was by making everything orange here and making everything blue here. And also remember what we did to achieve that was we made those an 8-9 pair. We made these a 1-2 pair because I kept those down to the absolute minimum. I made these an 8-9 pair to make sure that these could have the maximum value. This is an extraordinary idea. It's completely original, isn't it? And I'm going to be able to mirror all this on this side. I'm just wondering about yin-yang, though. That's got to be blue to avoid a 2x2. Now this has to be orange. Now I've got to avoid a checkerboard there, so that's got to be orange. That's got to be blue. Okay, and let's do the same on this side. So we must have a 1-2 pair here. We must have an 8-9 pair here. We must have an 8-9 pair here. So this digit is, yeah, look, so I've got 8-9 pairs now, looking at these middle boxes, which means I've now got another 8-9 pair in the across the central row. How have you done this? This is bizarre. And I haven't done my yin-yang on this side, so that's got to be orange. This has got to be orange. Okay. That could be blue or orange, I think. Hang on, so what have we now learnt about the world? I mean, there must be an orange in here. Actually, there's exactly one. It can't be double orange, can it? Because that would make a 2 by 2. But there must be an orange, because we've got to equalise the blues and oranges. Okay, here's a point. Here is a point. Look at the bottom row. I've got a 1-2 pair here. Now that means that this collection of digits includes no 1s and no 2s. So could it be, here's the question, could it be 3 of one colour against 1 of the other colour? No, because the minimum, if say these were both blue, now the minimum these 3 blues sum to is 12, 3, 4 and 5, and I can't write 12 into this cell. So that won't work, will it? So this must be 2 of one colour and 2 of the other colour, and because we can't have changes of colour anymore, that must be orange and that must be blue. And now this must be, oh, this is lovely. So this must be blue to avoid a 2 by 2. And now this must be blue to avoid a checkerboard, and that must be blue to avoid a checkerboard, and this must be orange to avoid a 2 by 2, and that must be orange to avoid a checkerboard, and that must be orange to avoid a checkerboard. I think I might have said 2 by 2 and checkerboard in the wrong way there, but that all was logical. Now, so I've done far better on the bottom of the grid. But that was because I had a funny cage there, which I don't have mirrored up here. So, and this is one of each. Yeah, that matters. That matters. Because how does this blue connect to its friends? It can't travel down the grid, because one of these is orange. They can't both be blue, or the whole thing is blue here. So one of these is orange, and it's trapping this into a sort of cul-de-sac. So that's definitely blue to get itself out of the trap. Okay, I don't know what that does. I was going to say that has to have a 3 in it. That's not true. I was thinking there would have to be a 3 in here, because there couldn't be a 1 or a 2. But actually that could be a 4-5 pair probably, and add up to 9. Oh, I'm stuck. I'm stuck, but I know there'll be something good. This has been such a quality puzzle so far. One of those at least must be blue. Ah, no, I am stuck actually. What am I meant to do here? I know those add up to 14, don't I? Does that make sense in the context of the column? I've got 17 there. I know these add up to 14 because I know this domino adds up to 14. So I've got 14 and 17 is 31. The whole column adds up to 45. So those cells there add up to 14. That doesn't mean they need to have a 1 in them, because you can do 14 with 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh dear. Come on, Simon. What am I meant to do? Sorry. I'm sure there's something obvious, but I don't know what it is. Okay. This 7 in this column is in one of 2 places. It can't be here, can it? Because 1 and 2 can't go in there. I'm going to pencil mark that. This little domino here is from 3, 4, 5 and 6. It can only add up to 8 if this is 3, 5 specifically. But there are 2 ways it could add up to 9. Okay, and the digit, the 3 or the 4 digit that's not used in this domino is used in this domino. So these digits are from 3, 4 and 7. And now this cell is under no pressure at all. It's under no pressure at all, I don't think. No, I don't think that's under any pressure at all. It could be as much. I mean, I could pencil mark it with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, but no, I'm not doing that. That seems a bit silly, doesn't it? Okay, I'm not sure what to do. It must be some maths that we can do somewhere. Is it that one? Is that one just the mirror of this one? It probably is, isn't it? Yeah, that again. Yeah, that has to be 3s, 4s, 5s, and 6s. This can't have 7 in it. So 7 in column 8, I suppose, is in one of these cells. If that was 7, that would be a 1 or a 2. I don't know. I've got nothing. Sorry. I think I'm being a bit... Okay, let's come back to this cage, because that cage must have some low digits in it, mustn't it? I say that. Is that actually true? I think it's true. I know this is 3 of blue and 1 of orange. Now the 3 of blue... I mean, I know one of these is blue, one of these is orange. Yeah, okay, that is a little, that's good. Yeah, I've got something there. Right, if you look at the rows, I've got 8s and 9s looking at these 2 digits. Now one of these is orange. I don't know which one, but whatever, the orange one can't be 8 or 9. And yet it's the sum of 3 different numbers. So it's either a 6 or a 7. Now that's fascinating, because that means this digit, which is a blue digit, and the sum of 3 digits that add up to 6 is specifically going to be 1, 2 and 3. The sum of 3 digits that add up to 7 is specifically going to be 1, 2 and 4. And this is a blue digit, so that is 3 or 4. This is 1 or 2. One of these is a 1 or a 2. And the other one is a 6 or a 7. And the 6 or the 7 is the orange one. But there is a sort of 1-2 pair in there. I mean, that's... does that mean that's under pressure? Yeah, that does, doesn't it? How could that be a 7 now? That would need to be a 1 or a 2. It can't be. Yeah, this can't be 7. It is simply impossible to make the maths work, given that this digit's at least a 3. So that is where 7 goes in column 2. That's definitely a win for the goodies. Now this digit is now... Well, I don't know actually. It could be as much as 6 still, couldn't it? 6, 5, 4 or 3. It can't be 3 because then this would be a 4 and it would add up to 7. So 4, 5 or 6. It can't be 4 for the same reason. This would be 3. Right, that's a 5 or a 6 now, which is a little bit interesting. It's actually quite worrying, this, though, isn't it? How did I pencil mark that so prolifically? Yes, I see. I can do the same here. These cells are from 3, 4 and 7. So this digit, if that couldn't be a 1 or a 2, I'd have the same point, wouldn't I? I think. Then this would be a 7. I tell you what, that looks wrong to me. That looks wrong, because how could I put a 7? Oh, that's horrible. Oh, that's horrific. That's absolutely horrific. Okay, what I was about to say is that I can't possibly put a 7 in one of these corner cages, because how could I put a 7 in there and it add up to 8 or 9 from 3 digits, one of which is a 7? But of course that's me applying my prejudices about cages, isn't it? If I put the 7 in the corner and I surrounded it with double 1 in the cage, it would add up to 9, and that could work. So you can put 7 in there and you can put 7 in there. Oh dear. And if you did put 7, then this threesome, which adds up to 14, doesn't include 7, 8 or 9, which feels difficult. It's not impossible, because 6, 5, 4 add up to 15. So that would be 6, 5, 3 is how that would work. Oh, I see. Oh my goodness me. That is absolutely gorgeous. Right. This is genius setting. Absolute genius setting. Right. Okay. Oh, this is so beautiful. Because the puzzle's symmetrical, we have to bear in mind that anything we decide to do in this column, we're probably going to have the same logic to consider here, aren't we? So here's my question. Is it possible that neither of these cages contain a 7? The answer is no. And that is because if neither of these cages had a 7 in, there's only one way to construct them. And that is 6, 5, 3. They have to add up to 14 without using 7, 8 and 9. So they have to be 6, 5, 3. And look at the middle row. What would this digit be? It would be a 3 if this was 6, 5, 3. What would this digit be if this was 6, 5, 3? That would be a 3. The 3s would clash. You can't make both of those 6, 5, 3. So one of them has a 7 in. Now which one? That is a difficult question. I don't necessarily know. I mean, I want to put it there because it feels like it's got to be Sudoku, but I think it could be in either one of them in theory. I don't know. Oh, well, all right. Okay, so what we can do, I don't know which of these is 7. I just know one of them is, by Sudoku, on the fact that one of these has got a 7 in. Now that means that isn't a 7. And that means that's the 7 in column 8, which means this is a 1 or a 2. And I don't know if that does anything or not. I don't know, do I? That's... oh dear, okay. Right, so... hang on, something odd is going on now. Is this to do with the corners? I don't know. There's something here. I can't quite see how it works. But what I'm now thinking is that there is a 7 either there or there. Let's just say it's here for the sake of argument. If that's a 7, in this column, the 7 is in one of the corner boxes. It's either there or there. And we know that the only way that can work is if you plonk the 7 in the corner and surround it with double 1. And then that's going to be a 9, isn't it? And that's going to make that a 9 by symmetry across the grid, because it's going to make this an 8. Now, I don't know if that's all right or not. But okay, but if you, oh, hang on. If you did that in this column, if that was a 7, I don't know. It's too complicated for me to quite visualize what's going on, I'm afraid. I think something's going on, which is a completely ludicrous thing to say. I think something is going on. There must be some logic that's going to allow me to know something extra about 7s, I think. Okay, that digit is not a 7. That is a truth. It doesn't mean it's not a 6, but it's not a 7. What about that string then? Can we do something with that? That does not involve a 7, 8 or a 9. This digit, which is the sum of these two digits, the sum of those two digits is not a 1, 2 pair. That would break this. So it's at least a 1 and a 3. So that digit is at least a 4. So it's 4, 5 or 6. Yeah, okay. That's good. That's good, isn't it? So here is a question. Is it possible for this domino not to involve a low digit, i.e. a 1 or a 2 in the sum? The answer is no. If this was a 3, 4 pair, this would be a 7, wouldn't it? And it can't be a 7. So there is a 1 or a 2 in there, and therefore in this row, there's a 1, 2 pair. This is not a 1 or a 2. That is a 6. And therefore this digit is a 1 or a 2. And therefore we know it's blue. Therefore we know this is orange. Now, oh no, I thought I was going to have to get the orange out, but the orange has got out already. So we can't do that. Okay, this is now not a 6. So this is not a 6. So this is a 5. Oh, this is so annoying. It's not quite going to do it, I don't think. That could still be 3 or 4. Do I know anything more about this? I mean, if it's 4, we know it's 1 and 3. But if it's 5, I think it could be 2 or 3, or 4 and 1. Oh, that's so frustrating, isn't it? So all I really learnt there was the nature of this digit, but that hasn't helped me. Gosh, this is I mean, it's fascinating. It's a fascinating and brilliant puzzle, this. It is a brilliant puzzle. But I don't know how to do it. I feel like, how long have I had? I've only had 48 minutes. That's not so bad. I've just got to come up with something. Now, what's that thing? I don't know. Is there some sort of... Do we think it's yin-yang, or do we think it's Sudoku, or do we think it's the funny box logic? I don't know. Whichever one of these is 7. What's it got above it? It's got a 7 domino above it, hasn't it? So there's lots of ways of making that work, I think. Yeah, I don't think that's going to be the answer. I mean, we know that one corner... We know that one corner of this puzzle, definite, and possibly 2 corners, have a 7 in the corner surrounded by double 1. That definitely exists in this puzzle somewhere, because I know that in either this box or this box there is no 7, and once the 7 is shunted into a corner domino, it must go exactly in the corner, and it must therefore be surrounded by double 1 and summed to 9. So I wonder whether is there some reason then? Not even sure how much it would help me to know this, but I don't know whether that means I should be exploring whether this is that 7 and that's the 7. Let's just have a quick think about that. Does that... Oh, no, no, that's it. Of course. I've said already, I can't do that, because that's going to make these 6, 5, 3 and put 2 3s in the middle row. So they... Oh, so what's going on? So the 7... Yeah, this is going to unwind something, I think. Because now what we've learned... This is one of the best puzzles I've ever seen, actually. This is just so ridiculously clever. Yeah, now what we've learned is because we know that there's a 7 in a corner and we know it's not this corner, there is a 7 here or here in the puzzle. Now, that means, I think, by colouring, if you can, so that means if it was this one, obviously this would be double 1 and this would be 9. But that means this is 9 as well, and vice versa. So now, if this was 7, this would be forced to be 9. So we know that they are 9. We know that these are 8. It's forced. Now the other thing I know is because either this is double 1 or this is double 1, that is always a 2. And therefore that is always a 1. And that is always a 1, and that is always a 2. And I'm pausing because I'm trying to work out what that means. I know one of these is a 7. I know one of these is a 1. That feels weird. I'm not sure that can work down here. I'm not... Hang on. I need to think this through. If that's a 7 and that's a 1, how am I going to make these digits? Maybe it's okay. I'm not... I know those are then the same. Oh, this is so confusing. This is so confusing. No, I'm not having it. That's the impossibility. Right. Goodness me, this is not 7. And the reason it's not 7 is hard to see, but it's to do with this domino having to add to 6. And that this domino adding to 6, this digit in the corner we can see cannot be a 1 or a 2, so it is at least a 3. And it can't be double 3, can it? So it's actually at least a 4, which means this digit is a 1 or a 2. Now, if this was 7, this would be 1, this would be 2, and that would be too high to make this possible. So this is not 7. We know that's not 7. So now we know the only place the 7 can go in the corner is here. And that is 7, and this is 1. And therefore, because we know we need one of these to contain a 7, it's this one. And therefore I know that is a 7. And these digits add up to 7 to make the 14. So this is 4, 5, 6, or 3. No. Okay, but I think we can still go further, because now this is not a 1. We know that this is a 3. because it doesn't have 7 in it. Oh, it must be 5, 6, 3. That's what all of this thinking has been predicated on. Now, how is this domino adding up to 6 if it doesn't involve a 1? And it doesn't. It must be 2, 4, and the 2 must not be in the same row. And now that corner digit is that's a 3. I think I could have got that before, but that 4 is on a diamond, so that's a 4. This domino adds up to 7 and doesn't involve a 4, so it also doesn't involve a 3. Now I've got a 5, 6 pair in this row. This is absolutely staggering. Now, how does this work? That digit's got to be a 6. 3 plus 4 does not equal 8 or 9. That's got to be a 6. And therefore that's got to be a 3. Oh, this is a 9. So that's 9, that's 8, that's 9, that's 8, that's 3 by mathematics. That is 4, 5, because once it hasn't got 3, adding up to 9 is forced. That's 6, which means this is 8, which means this is 9 and this is 5, and it's all working. And that's 4, and that's done the 4 and the 5, and that's done the 5 and the 6, and that's done the 6 over here, which means this is a 1, which means this middle thing has got a 2, 4 pair in it. That could be a 1 and add up to 7. I don't know if that's likely. It might be likely. Oh, okay. And I'm being called for bedtime, but I'm just going to carry on because suddenly we had a flurry of activity, didn't we? Oh, look, and it adds up to 9. Of course it does. Why would I expect anything different? This has to mathematically work. So these digits don't include 1. So this is 5, and this is a 2, 3 pair. And now I don't know what to do, but oh, that's quite cool. Look at these cells. They are 6, 7, 8, and 9, but they're parcelled 2 each, so they add up to 30. Each colour must have its own total, so they must add up to 15 each. Right, that's not 9, so that's not 6. That's not 7, so that's not 8. Okay, that might not have been where we were meant to look next. Okay. Can I do the maths? Oh, that's a 1 by Sudoku. That's actually not going to help me do the maths on this, is it? So what have we got here? We've got 4, 5, 6, 7, which I think adds to 22. So we're looking at 11 pairs to make this add up. That's not 5, so that's not 6. That's not 7, so that's not 4. Okay. I don't know if we can do any better than that. Ooh, wait. What about that triple there? That doesn't have a lot of low digits in it now. It must have a 3 in it. If it didn't have a 3 in it, whichever colour has 2 in it would add up to at least 5 plus 6 for 11. That's not going to work, so there's definitely a 3 in that cage. And it's going to be 3 and 5 adding up to 8, or 3 and 6 adding up to 9. I don't know which of those it is. Let's just have a quick look at Sudoku in that column 4 set. Oh, okay, that's helpful. There's a 9 here, and there's a 7 here, and there's a 4 here. Okay, so Sudoku is being friendly for once. So this now can't add up to 9, and it is 3, 5, and 8, which means that digit is a 6 by Sudoku, which means that isn't 6. Now these were adding up to 11, weren't they? So that's not 5. That's not 6. Oh, that's lovely. That's not 6, so that is 7 or 8. So it must be 7 plus 8 in orange, adding up to 6 and 9 over this side. Oh, and that doesn't resolve it. Oh, that's a shame. Okay, never mind. Okay. Come on, Simon. So, hang on. So how does this work? That's not 5 is one thing we can say. And these are different colours. Yes, so one of these is the high digit. One of those must be the 8, because the 8 is on its own in its own colour. So if this was 8, this would be a 3, 5, and if this was 8, this would be a 3, 5. But if that's 8, we're adding to that 8, aren't we? Whichever colour we made this, we'd be adding to it, and we can't do that. So the 8 is in one of those two. I'm almost thinking Sudoku is meant to be helping me here, but of course Sudoku is that fair-weathered friend that you're never quite sure about. Right, let's look at this. 1, 2, 4, 7. And that is not a 1. These digits, on the other hand, are 1, 2, 8, 9. Right, that is not 9 and not 1. So that is 2 or 8. How could that be 8? I don't think that could be 8. If that's 8, what on earth are we doing here? We're going to have to add, one of these is orange, otherwise we've got all blue. So we'd have to add 1 to 8 to make a total of 9, but neither of these can be a 9. So that is a 2. That is not a 2. It doesn't go much further, does it? So if this was orange, oh, no, that's blue. If this was orange, this would be blue, and it would either be a 6, which it can't be, or it would be a 9, which it can't be. So that is blue. And this must be orange in order to make the maths work. And look, I can see how this is going to work. This can't be 4 now, because this would be a 2. So that's got to be a 7. And that's got to be a 5. Now this has got to also be blue to avoid a 2 by 2. And now we are going to avoid a checkerboard and make this blue. This is one of the most brilliant things I've ever seen in my life. This is 7. This is 8. This is 4. This is 5. This is 6. This is 7. I'm just making them add up to 11. I'm not doing anything clever at all. This is 3. Now, okay, so this is now not 7. That's not 7. That's not... Oh, that's just a 1, 2, 4 triple. Oh, and that can't be a... Oh, that's not... It was never intended to be a 7, was it? No, bother. There's something going on there. So this is 189. 189, Simon. Although somehow, apparently, I don't know what that adds up to. Yeah, I think that's going to be 9. 9274 or something would be my guess. That's a 5, so that's a 3. Therefore, that's an 8 and that's a 5. Now, that means this is blue. And now we must avoid a checkerboard, so that's a blue. Now we must avoid a 2 by 2, so that's an orange. Let's double click these colours. No, so... No, that's a very good idea. Look at that blue. That's almost a pond. If either of these were blue, look what would happen. This orange in the middle, that 2, for example, could never get out. The only way that gets out is through that channel. That's all orange, and now I avoid a checkerboard. And now, yeah, and now this blue is also in a little puddle of its own, so that comes out. So now, well, now this definitely is not blue, because if it was blue, this would be orange, and 2 or 4 would be the sum of those 3 digits. That's nonsense, isn't it? So that, oh, hang on, this is great. This is great, because now this has become blue to avoid a 2 by 2, and now I've got 3 digits here that have to add up to 7, and I know that this is a 2-4 pair. So this is a 1. This is not a 1. I've got a 2-4 pair in this column, so this is a 3, this is a 2. Please, please. Yeah, this column needs 6, 8s and 9s, and that is a naked single. It sees 8 and 9. So that is a 6, that's a 6, that's a 9, that's an 8. This might... Oh yeah, 8 up here. I think it's going to work. 8. I mean, the reason I'm confident it's going to... I don't do Sudoku. Don't use this 1 to get rid of 1 in there. That will not be correct. This orange has to get out, doesn't it? Otherwise it's trapped. Now I've got to avoid a checkerboard. So that's orange. That's blue to avoid a 2 by 2. Now, what's going on here? This blue... Oh, I see. Look at the blue. This little blue tetromino hasn't touched its friends, so it's got to go across there. And now that's the colouring. We've done it. We've just got to do the Sudoku. We need to put a 3 here. We need to put a something there, probably a 4. We need to put a 1 here, therefore. Oh, dear, dear, dear. Oh, and the maths is going to get me home. Yeah. Oh, that's glorious. Look at the final position. I've got a 2-4 deadly pattern, except this little tetromino here. Look, how's this going to work? I've got double 1 in orange. I'm going to have to add 2 to that to equal 4. 4 does equal double 1 plus 2, and that unwinds that. That is absolutely ridiculous. That is one of the most ridiculous puzzles ever. My goodness, just over an hour, and what an absolute treat that was. I loved that, Kaktuslav. You always impress me, but that was off the charts brilliant. Off the charts brilliant. Good grief. Let me know in the comments how you got on with that. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind, and we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.